latest Mason-Dixon poll out of North Carolina shows Senator Barack Obama only ahead 7 points against Senator Hillary Clinton. Many voters in North Carolina said it was the Reverend Wright issue that had impacted their vote. In a new Rasmussen poll out of Indiana, Clinton, well, she leads Senator Obama there by 5 points, 46 to 41%. In both states, Obama leads with the younger vote and among African-American voters, even after the Reverend Wright media tour. Joining us now for analysis, our own Frank Luntz is with us. I can tell you, it's getting interesting. These polls, he was up in North Carolina by a tremendous amount. The question is, can she catch up?
She doesn't have to beat him in North Carolina. Nobody
Expected that. But
if she did beat him in North Carolina,
it'd be huge.
You would be on the air 24/7. I mean, it would be a collapse, and we don't even know what would happen at that point.
Right.
Everything would be brand new. And the fact that she's now got that 5-point lead in Indiana, she's got to win by 5 points or more to be able to show that distance, and she's got to keep Barack Obama.
Let's talk. You've got the latest focus group. You've been doing great work all year for us. Tell us what you got.
What is special about this is we've been focusing on Democrats up to this point. Now we bring in John McCain into it, and something happened to me they never expected. We had swing voters, undecided voters. Some of these people you're going to hear from right now leaning towards Barack Obama, and yet when we asked them your question, Sean, can you name one accomplishment? They couldn't for Obama, but they could for John McCain.
Let's watch this.
Watch this. Right. Name me a John McCain accomplishment.
McCain-Feingold.
Taxes.
Stability. Government stability, I can't believe.
His experience in war.
That he was a prisoner of war and he had to get through all of that and still come out and go into Congress.
Immigration.
Name me a Barack Obama accomplishment.
I can't.
I can't either.
I can't either.
He's been able to.
He can have accomplishments. He's been nowhere nothing.
I have no idea.
How many of you can name an accomplishment of John McCain? Raise your hands if you can name an accomplishment of John McCain. Almost all of you. How many of you can name a Barack Obama accomplishment? 4 of you. I think that says a lot.
Now, on top of every controversy we've talked about, Reverend Wright, his comments in San Francisco, this is the most telling. Nobody knows anything about him. Thin resume. Nothing spectacular.
And they know so much more about John McCain.
Yeah.
Now, make no mistake, these are still undecided voters, and you still can't call this election.
But they're even laughing at your question.
Yes, because they realize, oh, my God, I might lean towards Barack Obama, but I can't tell you why.
Yeah.
It's a feeling. It's more than a feeling. It's actually the Boston theme song, More Than a Feeling.
More than a feeling, right.
That's Barack Obama. You do not want me to hum anything, I can assure you.
But you know what? It's the fact that they laugh, and by the way, I love focus groups because they were honest. I think it's an aha moment. It's a realization moment. It's the truth settles in. Boy, I like this guy, but I really don't know why, and I've never thought about it.
And I had people afterwards that came up to me and tugged on my jacket and said, you know what? I actually, in listening to all of us here,
They changed.
They changed their point of view. It really was.
Can we do focus groups around the country?
You can do it every day, Sean. If only the economy was better, we could do it every day.
If you had asked that question about George W. Bush 8 years ago,
they would have named absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Al Gore should have won.
I disagree.
You have to understand, everyone knew about Al Gore. They knew about his accomplishments. But you know, now I want to answer your questions, so let me. They did not want Al Gore into their living rooms every day. They thought that Al Gore won the debates, but they still voted for George Bush. Why?
But they couldn't name an accomplishment.
But they just didn't like Al Gore.
But let's look at some of the answers you got. Accomplishment. Immigration. Well, that immigration bill didn't pass. That was not an accomplishment.
Right, but John McCain in immigration actually has the opportunity to win states like New Mexico and Nevada, which would be very tough
but they named that as
for
an accomplishment.
Republicans.
That was not an accomplishment of John McCain. Taxes is not an accomplishment of John McCain. He's flip-flop.
But at least they can name something.
But
Alan,
at least they can name
something.
They didn't do. You want me to name something? I'll name a Lugar-Obama initiative enhancing U.S. ability to destroy conventional weapons. The Reid-Feingold
you don't have to read your
Obama,
notes.
which
You don't
they
have to
passed.
read your notes.
Well, I'm looking at notes.
But talk to me.
But yes, he passed what Washington Post called the strongest ethics legislation.
You know,
they're reducing conventional and nuclear weapons. He has hundreds of pieces of legislation.
Is this now the Alan Colmes show?
Wait a second.
It's aggravating, isn't it?
Wait a second. What, you just asked me a question. Well, you were a host. You asked me a question. I'm giving you things that he's accomplished. The things that were mentioned about John McCain were not accomplished.
Do you know what they're most impressed with? That this man spent 5.5 years in prison.
Right, that is impressive.
And he never broke. Question. He didn't break. They tried everything, and he didn't break.
Right.
And you know what they said at the end? If he can withstand North Vietnam, then he can withstand Washington. If he can absolutely stand firm against that kind of pressure for 5.5 years, he can stand firm in Washington.
Nobody can take that away from John McCain.
But to say,
Frank, that Obama, when it's never been discussed in this campaign, has no accomplishments. Let's not forget that Hillary Clinton still has a real chance to win this nomination.
She's got the most accomplishments.
accomplishments.
Yeah, she's incredible. And for Obama, I'm not going to dismiss the fact that he is inspirational, that young people are voting for the first time that never did. And by the way, Sean, that's an accomplishment.
How about being the first African-American who's got a real shot at being President of the United States? How about that for an accomplishment?
Fantastic. But when you compare that to someone who is a genuine American hero, that's all I'm saying.
Look, you can compare it. You cannot take that away from John McCain. The question is, who would be a better president of the United States based on where they stand on policies that at this moment matter most to the American people?
And the American people...
And with all due respect to whatever John McCain experienced, that people may have different answers about.
And the American people have not yet made up their minds, but what looked like an Obama victory...
They don't know anything about him.
And I was the first one to say that Obama was going to win.
Because the campaign has not been about issues yet.
I've been on the stump a year and a half.
Because we're talking about a pastor and a guy who's his neighbor.
Yeah, only in the last 2 months, and his polls have dipped, they find out.
You got to take over your show here.
He had his turn. Wait a second. I get to talk to Frank.
I don't get to talk.
You're going to do that when we get back. It'll be the Frank Luntz show when we get back in a moment. First, let's check with Greta Van Susteren.